This episode of CST is brought to you by our newest patrons,
Michelle, Benjamin, and Bronson.
mostly Bronson.
Just because he has the coolest name.
Because he's got the coolest name, I think.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah. Anyway, you can become a patron by going over to patreon.com/CST. All right, so, you taping?
Not hot. Sea lion, sunbathing.
Hello, Catherine.
Hi, Mac.
It's good to see you.
This time of year is so weird
Uh-huh.
because, like, you think in the fall is when everything falls off the trees, right? That's when the leaves fall. And I didn't really...
Wait. That's where the name comes from?
Well, I didn't really realize until we moved into this house and I really started noticing because we had some magnolia trees that spring, everything falls too. Like our magnolia tree in the front yard and the backyard sheds its leaves in the spring. Do you know how frustrating it is to get into April, to lay down new pine straw? You get rid of all the leaves from the fall and then the magnolia tree just craps all.
Life is so hard. You know who else thinks that's frustrating? The children of Aleppo. So frustrating.
The word unblowupable is thrown around a lot these days, but I think I can say with confidence. Okay, that shows you what could potentially happen.
So what's happening, Mac?
What is not happening is the question. Let me tell you what's not happening. We're not watching television or
We're
movies.
not, because there's like no entertainment this week. We're your entertainment. We are your entertainment. You're welcome.
Because everything's about the move. As everybody heard last week, we are leaving this town. And
We're just
shaking the
dust of this
feet,
town off
off
our feet and
town and
our very
get the feet.
dirty
We're
feet.
just going to go to another feet somewhere. We're moving on up to the top, to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
We are
high
moving to the east side of Atlanta.
of Atlanta. That's right.
Well,
and
way up east.
So Thursday, the big news was that my new county has this thing called personnel intake, which sounds
intake.
very Soylent Green.
Are you Mac? Mac, are you there?
Well,
He doesn't seem like a different person since he went to that meeting, but you know you can't be too sure.
when a tone is played, I have to murder everyone in the home. So I'm just not listening to anything right now.
That's why he wears headphones. He wears headphones all over the house. It's the weirdest thing.
All right, so we had this thing called personnel intake, which, darn it doesn't sound sinister.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's where you go and have to sit through people explaining to you your benefits and reading to you the employee handbook.
Mag was like, his eyes glazed over.
Wah, 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 wah,
Blah, blah, blah.
Wah, wah, insurance. Wah, wah. Deductible.
Dental plan.
Dental plan. Lisa needs braces. So also I got to and sign my contract for next year, and I got to meet the principals at the new school that I'm going to, and spent a lot of time with the media specialist there, who thank goodness is not leaving on bad terms or anything. It wasn't like, so how about them Braves? It wasn't like that at all. She was super sweet.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't, because you wouldn't have known what to say after that comment.
No. You say, how about them Braves? Heck of a season. Think they'll repeat? Nah. That's what you do.
Okay.
You
Sure.
throw in stuff about the new stadium if you want to. That only
Absolutely.
pertains to this year.
That's true.
Anyway, I got this covered, baby.
All right.
I've been doing fake man talk for like 40 years, so you scratch deeper than that now.
And if anybody ever says Broadway musical, you immediately, your defenses go up. You're like, wait a second. Is this a trap?
Are you going to smack me if I say I like it?
I know every line to the new musical Hamilton. Wait, I meant I love to fish.
And racing? I got racing in some of the musical. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, so I got to spend a lot of time with the principal and sort of learn about their program and see the facilities.
They're still letting you go right? They're still-
Listen, I signed the contract and it did not burst into flames.
Okay.
The people, I snuck back up to the window after they'd led me out, and I kind of looked in, and they didn't have like the list of names and were Xing out my name. So I think we're good.
Good. I'm glad.
They all seemed like super nice people. Like, nobody came off as a jerk except probably me.
So
Ben got to go with me.
I was going to say, what we did was we went up the night before. We stayed with our same friends, the Larkins, who were kind enough, even though she's like 5 days away from giving birth, and they have 3 kids, and it was their son's birthday.
They're about to make a new Larkin.
That's right. But they were kind enough to let us stay again. And then we were getting ready to leave that morning, and Aaron was like, so would it make your life easier today if you had another car? And I went, yeah. He goes,
Just don't play with me, Aaron.
you better not.
Because we were going to have to crisscross all day because Catherine took the boys and they were going to go house hunting.
Right.
And I had literally 3 different places to be that day at different times. And then we're going to show up for lunch. So 4 different places. So we really would be crisscrossing. And Aaron just said, well, hey, man, take the car. And they have a Toyota Prius, a hybrid. I've never driven one before. And I was totally impressed with it. I was just kind of...
And it's like a hatchback or like a little station wagon.
Tons of room.
It's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
So we got up that morning. You and Ben went to your appointments that you had. Y'all went and got yourself. You got fingerprinted. Again, was worried for a bit.
Did
there.
we put out that video? We did.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And Ben went with you to the school to meet the new the old media specialist, and y'all got to see. Ben got to see the video production setup.
I think Ben was very impressed. I think he's going to have a fantastic time at this school.
If he can get through history and English and reading anything.
And pretty much all academic classes besides video production.
And math and science. I think he'll
Just those few.
But, like, he's not the only kid in the world that has a difficult time with the more, what would you call it?
Academic?
No. Science is not academic. Science is an academic class.
Oh, you didn't list classes? You didn't list that science class?
I did say science. Like, he's going to do fine in math, science, and video production.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'm saying he's not the only kid out there that has more trouble with, like, reading and history and English. I mean, there are kids out there. Einstein
Not my children.
flunked all kinds of classes. Einstein.
Well,
I'm not saying Ben's a genius.
I was about to say, when Ben comes up with the theory of relativity or something of equal stature, then I will stop giving him a hard time.
But anyway, so he was very excited. They have a whole production studio there, and they have 6 editing bays, I believe, and each editing bay has 2 computers in it. So he was just in hog heaven. He was just as excited as Ben can be when he got back from going to the school. So it's great to know that my son, who's never been to like regular brick and mortar all-day school, is excited. That kind of goes a long way into making the transition a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's great to know.
So, and you just thought the school was really nice.
Yes.
And you have your own office.
Yeah, apparently last year they finished construction on a huge wing of it, so it's almost double the size of what it used to be. So they've moved populations in the county around a little bit, I think, just kind of
They have.
tweaking it.
Yeah.
And just really nice facilities. Can't wait to get in there.
So while you were doing that,
You were going to look at houses.
well, no.
Let's tell the short version of this.
I went to Target and to Costco, and I got a Costco membership. Never done that before, but apparently, you got to get a Costco membership.
So she decided to get a large retail membership, or a large discount, whatever. What do you call it? Wholesale?
Discount club.
A wholesale discount club membership to a place that we're not moving to
Yes,
for
but-
2 years.
but-
I mean, two months.
I was going to say 2 years. When is this happening?
Very forward-thinking school system.
I signed a contract for 2020. Anyway, so you did that, and then I was just about to lose my mind with those two, and then just sort of the reality of it, and I was just
I was thinking, like, this is for real. We're actually doing this.
We're really doing this.
This is no longer an academic argument.
And I have to go with my children sometimes to Augusta or Savannah, but we're there in that kind of traffic with them for a limited amount of time. So just that idea that I'm now going to have to go and be in traffic with my boys kind of on a regular basis, kind of like it was just a real deep moment for me. So by the time Mac and I met back up at Chick-fil-A, of course, for lunch, did I look like I was kind of freaking out? Oh, because Mina had called.
You were in a terrible mood.
Mina had called and said, of the 11 houses you've sent me for us to look at, 3 of them are available. And that just kind of really threw me for a loop in terms of how quickly, if you want to buy something, you have to make it happen. And that we just don't have the financial resources at this point because our house hasn't sold. We've been trying to pay off debt. We have not been in a money saving mode. And she's like, you need this amount of money in order to buy a house. And I'm like,
Ooga.
this is not going to happen. So we went ahead and looked at some houses and got an idea of what we're going to be looking for and what's available up there in our price range, and still just really nerve-wracking.
Deep breath. Lots
of deep breaths. But we finished looking at houses, and you met us we went to Starbucks with Mina, and we're able to sit down with her, just across huge Starbucks, by the way. It was just, I don't think it's the biggest Starbucks I've ever been in. It just kept going on and on.
It's spacious.
It's spacious.
Much more spacious.
Yeah,
than
lots
Starbucks
of tables,
usually are.
lots of tables and little chairs and corners and
What
stuff.
did you tell me about Starbucks later? I thought it was hilarious. You said
I don't remember.
every time you go into a Starbucks, you feel like you're in the Capitol in the Hunger Games series.
I do.
It's just like a temple of not debauchery, but
No, it's
self-important self-indulgence.
because it's so specific what we want. I want, and I'm not the first person to make fun of this, obviously in pop culture, but like I want this, 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 and this.
I want these 18 things in a coffee.
Now Mac and I don't do that. We go into Starbucks.
I order black
and we
coffee.
order black coffee, and I put cream and sugar in it because anything else is like $5. So that's what I do. But anyway, yes, I do. I always feel. And school had let out. There's a high school right down from that Starbucks, and school had just let out. So right
all
after
the
we
artsy
got
teenagers
this,
come in.
there were like
Very,
30 teenagers.
very emotionally substantial.
Well, and I thought, it struck me that like this is going to be Ben like next year, like going to hang out at Starbucks after school because we're going to be living in Cumming.
You're just going to be writing bad poetry about some girl that broke
He's
his
going
heart.
to learn to play the guitar. So we sat down across the table from Mina, who is great, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're in the Atlanta area and you want to purchase a home and you want a buyer's agent, Mina's awesome.
Let us know. We'll hook you up.
I'll hook you up with Mina.
Yeah.
And she was great. And the boys were with us through all our house hunting, and she has a couple of teenage boys, twins, and so she was super calm with them, very patient with Jude, who I think actually almost broke into one of the houses because we couldn't open the front door, so he just went around to the back.
And got his way in.
So this is just Jude. But she was very, cool with that. But it did let me know that I can't go house hunting with my children, ever again.
You're right. But she did explain to us the Byzantine nature of the house buying process.
Well, it was just, she said, if you come house hunting, you need to be ready to put in an offer like that day.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
So it was a very long day, and we had to go back to Aaron and Kelly's and drop the car off, and we decided, and that was like at 5 o'clock,
5:30.
quarter till, something like that. Anyway, and Catherine wouldn't let us leave. She said, no, traffic's too bad.
No. Aaron said, y'all aren't going to try to leave right now, are you? And I was like, well, I'd really like a glass of wine. So, not forgetting the fact that I hadn't had anything to eat since like 11 o'clock that morning.
So we sat around. You had a glass of wine. I had a beer, and we talked with them.
And we talked with them, and their kids ran around the yard.
Yeah,
It was so beautiful, and their house is in a very closely packed subdivision, but they've done such a great,
really nice houses.
Yeah, they've done such a good job with their backyard that when you're back there, you don't feel that way.
No, not at all. It's wonderful, and they were so gracious and
So gracious.
such good hosts. And we finally got out of their hair and went home, and on the way home, we convinced ourselves that trying to buy the house is probably not the fiscally responsible thing to do.
Not today. Now,
Right.
if something changed, like if we were to sell our house 2 months from now, that would be fine.
Right. But since we don't have a down payment saved up right now,
Right.
rather than, trying to stretch ourselves way too thin to make that happen, we're going to try to rent something so that we can save for a down payment in 6 months or less if we were to be able to sell the house.
Right. So that's,
Or get the house rented.
yeah. So we had a long talk on the way home. We just sort of walked through all the pros and cons of trying to like really bust our behinds for me to work like 5 days a week if they'll let me, and try to save up all this money, or in our minds say we're gonna just pause the house hunt, focus on our house here in Swainsboro. I had a realtor come today and talk with me. She walked around the house with me. Was very positive and actually, mentioned a price that I was actually higher than I was originally thinking, a good bit higher. So
Let's hope she's right.
that made me feel better. And I was we just have to get the house ready to sell.
Yeah.
That's kind of our goal now. And then we'll see where we are 2 months from now. If the house is sold, awesome. We'll have the down payment to start looking immediately for a house up there.
And it's really hard with the house market, with the houses that go so fast. Us being 4 hours away, we can't just pick up and go 4 hours all of a sudden to try to put an offer on a house. And we don't want to rush into a $300,000 mistake. That would be terrible.
Yeah, so that's the other thing is we don't want to make a decision on a house based on this feeling of fear or anxiety. I want to buy a house from a feeling of okay, because we're okay, we're fine. Like we can afford on our salaries to continue to wait on this house to sell and to rent something small there. Now, we're going to be renting something small there. Our goal is if we're going to rent, then right now, because the places that you lease, if you want like a short-term lease, not a 12-month lease, then it's usually an apartment complex. And so we're thinking...
We're not used to that.
No. So we're thinking something like a 2-bedroom and 2-bedroom, 2-bath, in a nice apartment complex. And it's really very short-term. I feel like if it'll hurt enough that it will encourage us to not spend money, to just save, and so that 6 months from now we will have 6 to 7 months from now we will have the down payment that we need to feel very comfortable going in and buying the house that is right for us.
Yeah.
And
if we don't buy Chick-fil-A lemonade every day.
What?
Well, we can't buy it on Sundays, so just 6 days of the week. If we cut that down to 3, we may be able to save up for a down payment. Catherine had to work this weekend, so she stayed in town, but I took the boys back to God's side of the state, back to Blakely, to visit Mom and Dad. And I'm trying to get down there every other week now. And we had a good visit. Dad had a really good day Friday and Saturday, and not so much Sunday. But I got to see some other relatives that popped in to visit a little bit, and our children got to play together, and Dad had some new mufflers put on his Mustang.
Did he really?
That included some loud pipes, very deep, bassy pipes. I didn't know that when he asked me.
That's hilarious.
I think he wanted to surprise me.
Uh-huh.
So he asked me, "Why don't you go crank it up, and I want to hear it, see if I can hear the mufflers, the new mufflers. Go from just really open it up." So I got Ben in the car, and my parents live on this literally 1 mile stretch of road, with a gentle hill in the middle, and so we started at one end of that road, and I just floored it and pins us to the seat, and we hit 100 before the end of the mile, and so it was maybe 5 seconds, between 5 and 6 seconds, maybe. Anyway, that was really cool. And the muffler, I've never wanted a loud car, but there's something about being in a vehicle.
It sounds powerful.
Being in a vehicle going is pretty great. So that was a lot of fun. But just a long drive. It's a long drive there. It's a long drive back. I've got the boys. My truck is trashed. Got to get in there and clean it up.
Trashed because of boys.
Trashed because of boys.
Yeah, so I worked Friday night. We sold our camper Saturday afternoon. We put it on Craigslist last week. We mentioned that. Yeah, that is entertaining.
Got to meet some people.
Some interesting people from Gainesville, the Gainesville area. They drove down here Saturday afternoon. I had worked the night before, woke up. It was like 90 degrees outside. Luckily, Mac had put the camper up and had left it up.
When she says put the camper up, it's a pop-up. So
Right.
she means like raise the camper, got it out,
Yeah.
and set it up as if you were camping in it.
Yeah, so the man and his wife came in and looked around the camper, and he got up underneath it and checked everything, and he said, "Yep, cool," and gave us exactly what we had asked for it, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I had to help them show him how to like take it all down and put it all up, which again, it's always a sweaty process. Even if it's 75 degrees, it's a sweaty process. So we got it all put together, and they drove out of here about, I don't know, 5 o'clock.
So we have one less big thing in our backyard and a lot more dollar bills. And that's
We
good
do,
for us
which is
trying to
good.
save up for a
Trying
down
to
payment.
save up for a down payment. So every little bit helps, and that's kind of the goal. Shoot, we may actually have a yard sale one of these days. So anyway, so then you guys got home last night, and today is actually the 5-year anniversary of my mom passing away. And it's always a difficult time of year for my dad. I mean, you know, I think we have such busy lives and have so many other things, you know, on our brain that it doesn't affect us as much.
Right. We're not retired.
But yeah.
We don't have a big empty house to sit and dwell in.
Yeah.
I mean, not that your dad sits
No,
around the house
no,
all
no,
the time,
no.
but
it's,
he's in there.
He thinks about it, and he anticipates this time of year. And so, because this time of year, this day was April 24th is the anniversary of my mom passing away, and then 2 weeks from now will be the anniversary of my brother passing away. So this time of year always evokes a lot of those emotions, just remembering the last time you saw them this time of year, you know, and the birds singing and the flowers blooming and kids going to prom, and it's just kind of all tied up in those feelings of saying goodbye.
So we had dinner over at your dad's house last night. The extended family that's not really extended, the immediate family.
Well, the
that's
block,
here in
the
town.
block people, the people on the block.
And we watched Mother's Day videos.
Daddy had pulled out Mother's Day videos starting in 92, so the first Mother's Day with Colby when he was a baby, and it was really funny to watch the progression of. I think the reason Daddy chose those is because it was all of us together. So
Wilder was still there.
right? So
Carrie Lynn had to come to live with you.
Right. So Carrie Lynn came in 89 or 90, and Colby was born in 1991. So that Mother's Day of 92 through Mother's Day 96, really just those 4 years, we were all together.
Wow.
And so I think that's probably in his mind what he was really thinking, like where we can actually see everybody together and those changes. And Wilder especially, because he would have been 13.
He starts out as this pudgy little preteen.
Yeah, he's like 12, I think.
And ends up being this lanky, somber, sulky. That's the word I was looking for. Teenager.
Yeah, 16-year-old.
I'm too cool to be here.
17-year-old. So no, by the 17-year-old, he wasn't. We couldn't even get him out of bed the last year, and I wasn't even home the last year. I was actually in New Jersey. So it's just kind of, it was interesting in those like 30 minutes or so we watched the videos to watch this progression of our family in this time of change. And so Daddy just brought that up. You know, he said it just all changes so fast. He said you really have to treasure this time with your children.
What struck me when you were talking about it is you don't know the season that you're in.
Nope, not when you're in it.
Yeah.
You don't. You really don't.
Isn't that scary? Jeez.
Well, it shouldn't be scary to us because anything can change.
Yeah.
You know, the world could change, but it is a reminder to us as as parents, and children even of our parents, you know, our older parents, to cherish the time that we have, because you just don't know. You don't know what tomorrow may bring. Not dwell on it, but enjoy each other.
At the Art of Manliness the other day, he posted dying words of great men. And one of them was by this Indian chief called Crowfoot, I think is his name. And it said, and it was, "What is life? Life is the flash of a firefly at night. It's the winter's breath of a buffalo. It's the shadow that dances across a piece of grass and is gone." I thought,
Wow, you memorized that.
holy crap. Why can't I say things like that? I'm not going to watch Fargo tonight. I'm going to sit and think about life.
No, you won't. You'll watch Fargo.
I did. I watched Fargo. No, I didn't. I didn't watch Fargo that night, but it wasn't because it was because I was too busy doing something else. So that was the first portion of our show, the happening segment that we do every week. And if you'd like to hear the rest of the show, then tune in to wherever you get podcasts from, whether it's iTunes or Network or Google Play or
Network. Oh, that is a real thing. Network. Okay.
That's what I use.
Yeah.
Network.
That's right.
And you can hear the whole show.
The whole show.
So until then.